certain industries will not be part of the future if they don't adapt.
Hi there. Welcome to the Circum Center, a series of stimulating dialogues on the circular economy. Today's topic is storytelling and activism for circular economy. So many businesses and leaders are working to change and shape a better future for all of us. But without people using stories as an enabler and encouraging people for change, those efforts might not stick.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I am 15 years old and I'm from Sweden. I speak on behalf of Climate Justice Now.
Activists and storytellers are the social catalysts of change and action. Meet Harald Friedl. Harald is an activist, a change maker, and a devoted circular economy leader. He was the CEO of Circular Economy and co-founder of Impact Hub Myanmar. He's currently helping governments and businesses transition to a circular economy, including the Austrian Prime Minister. Let's hear it from Harald, how we can create the world we all want to live in. Hi Harald, welcome to the Circum Center.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to start with the personal circle and ask, why is circular economy vital to you personally?
As everything we are doing in life, something comes back to our personal experiences. I think that's a fundamental truth. And the more we can align ourselves with what we are actually doing in the world, the more impactful we can be. I asked myself many years, how can I have the best impact or influence in everything that I'm doing in the world? About 7 years ago, the circular economy came into my life, and I realized that a lot of the things that I've done in the past, they started to connect. I started to understand the system around me. I can only share with you when I understood that we are part of one, that we are part of a system, and that the circular economy is a way how I can explain it to every person rather than going into deep-rooted ethical conversation or spiritual conversation. This makes sense.
When you think about your past, what was the most important event in your life that made you who you are today?
So my really deep-sighted experience where I then stepped forward and I truly could find my voice in the world, which happened when I understood and started to live from the principles of a circular economy. And I had several or many years where this was not clear. How can I get up every day? What do I work? What company do I choose, or what organization? And this truly it clicked for me when this circular economy principle, I started to understand and read about it. And in the end of the day, it's not magic. It's a very natural, if we come back, I think, what we actually want to do on this planet. And it got me out of my struggle, a struggle I think that many people share. What is actually my path? What do I actually do here? It just makes sense how we can spend our time here on this planet and how we can raise ambition to do not a little bit less bad than we did in the past, but how we can do fundamentally better, all of us together. So it's an inclusive new way of looking forward that I hope many people can look into.
You have experience in different industries, sectors and disciplines. What did you gain from the diversity of your experience and how did it change you?
So I have a background in working for government. I was advisor to our Deputy Prime Minister as CEO in business, and I was also in the non-profit world working with international organizations like the UN, but also NGOs. And in each of these, I never felt home enough so that I could, with my life energy, bring the impact that I wanted. And the circular economy for the first time gave me a view and saying, look at it as a system. Everything is obviously interrelated. Now you are nodding and many people say, logical. The issue is understanding that we are part of a system and then actually acting accordingly is a big leap of faith and a big leap of action many don't take. And I think that's also the reason why we are in the problems that we are facing right now. So many things I said to you started to click when I understood how NGOs, how government, how business relate to each other, because I've been in all of these positions. It's an experience not many people have. So for me, suddenly things started to make sense. I started to understand things as a system. What do I take from that wisdom? A, we as individuals can have a huge impact on the world if we understand each other as part of systems. And two, systems can change. We can definitely create the world we actually want to live in.
This is the end of our first circle, and we talked about your personal life. and now we're going to move into like more business, civil society and industry level circle. I want to start with something you said before. You said it's not about doing a little bit less bad, but fundamentally better. What do you mean by that?
And we are living in an interesting time of exponential change. Now we hear more and more that there are three big pressures that the CEOs are being faced with. One is governments are changing rules, and policy will change faster than the past. That's what everybody predicts. Especially when we have governments like the New Zealand government, the Finnish government, with female leadership. I think female leaders truly show us the way with a new way of leadership. Pressures coming from the political side. Policy frameworks are changing. Secondly, the clients are demanding net zero green products. So really the producers have to change what they have in the factory, because further down the value chain there are different products needed. And thirdly, what I find very interesting, the pressure from inside the companies is ramping up. Employees more than ever want to be part of meaningful, purposeful companies.
How can employees contribute to creating change? And how can business leaders empower their employees?
I often give the answer to people, you don't need to change your job now, but you can in your government or in your business or in your organization try to effectuate change. I think the businesses of this year, 2022 and the future, have to give employees a chance to do so. If you as a business leader really want to future-proof your business, you have to respond to that. So you have to have an integral answer on how you guide your business. I again think the circular economy gives such an interesting framework, but you can't put it into the sustainability department, which comes under strategy or under sustainability somewhere in a corner of the organization. The ones that are successfully reshaping and fundamentally changing their businesses to a better, they are laying this as a cross-cutting topic. If you do that, I think that's fundamental change you're bringing to a company. And I think that's what many businesses want. So I rather recommend now an operation on the open heart, be ready for the future rather than small little fixes. And I think it pays off.
What type of leadership do we need to enable a circular economy?
It's always difficult to generalize, obviously, right? But if we know that I think 75% of CEOs and leadership positions are taken by men globally. The same, even worse, I think, in governments. I think 80% or 85% of government leaders are non-female. And not so much into the male-female, but it's about an expression of what we want to have. There was recently an article that talked about empathetic leadership, leadership from your heart, whatever you do, whatever you name it. I think that's the new way of how we lead. We lead together with the people around us. We need to build teams. We need to be collaborative. I think there are 3-4 values that are really key to that you need to put in motion and you need to put into action in your company. This is around radical collaboration. Also more transparent. Radical transparency is now often evoked as a value that helps businesses to get trust by consumers. You can only do this by being transparent, because consumers is very sensitive. I think whitewashing, greenwashing, circular washing, all of this is possible and has been part of business realities. I just hope this has to end as soon as possible.
What must business leaders ask themselves to transition to a circular economy successfully?
What is a government structure that actually is supporting a company that wants to be circular or future-proof? What kind of money do you want to take? Because in the end of the day, financial stakeholders are part of your company. You really need to make sure that the financial impact or the financial input you're giving into a company needs to be aligned with where you want to go. Because if your owners, your financial stakeholders want to go a different direction, not going to happen that you bring real change about in your company. It doesn't only go into how you run your company, where you go your finance from, but how do you treat the people along your value chain? What kind of sustainable or circular behavior do you show in these partnerships? And lastly, bringing the concept again, how we can live this and show leadership in our companies. Look at what it means for your ownership, for your governance, how you govern your company. The involvement of workers, employers is really important. How you can treat your value chain. And in the end of the day, how do you make your employees part of that? I think these are questions leaders that are leading from empathy have to ask themselves. Do I know a company that has the perfect solution? No, but we know of many that are experimenting with new models, and I think they will be the successful future leaders, and they are getting ahead of the curve. We just need more of it.
What is the new role of governments enabling a circular economy?
Let's start top level. When I look at it from a government perspective, and I told you I'm special envoy for the Austrian government for the circular economy, it's not a government position, it's a bridge builder position. And I think more and more innovative governments are putting bridge builders also in a position where they are trying to respond to the new realities that we are seeing. Answers to the most problems in any sector will not come from one player. We know that. So it comes from the collaboration between the government, the businesses and us, civilians, civil society, or them maybe NGOs, and that we sit together and try to find out how we can move things much faster. Who is in the collaboration? Possibly everybody who is part of the ecosystem, which makes it more complex. You are able to act much faster together once we have built the consensus at the beginning. This is how we want to change, and especially this is where we want to go. And that's your role in it.
How is collaboration possible within a competitive business environment?
Now, in collaboration, I have experienced the funniest things because people are not willing to give up. Let's be very honest. Everybody's trying to find and define and fight for their own turf. That's mine. I'm not going to give it up. I want to grow, but I want to grow beyond what I already have. And certainly, I'm only collaborating if I have something out of this. I think that's really 21st century thinking. We have to really move on. Beyond collaboration, I'm trying to remind myself, and it's a daily process, what is our intention here? Is my intention in a collaboration conversation with you that I am growing my business? Or is it that I want to create a better location? Because if we have a broader view, I think we can both thrive in a new paradigm much better than we have done in the past. And yes, I think elephants in the room, certain industries will not be part of the future if they don't adapt. We have to make decisions what we want to be. Do we want to be part of the future, or you want to stay in the present? A future that is more equitable, that is more fair, that is bringing more to the people on this planet. So new leadership is needed, new kinds of collaboration, absolutely. But use the collaboration as platforms to build trust, design a clear vision of the future, and then an action map on how to get there. I think then it's going to be motivating, and then people are coming back to create, recreate, and then action the future we want to live in.
How can governments shape a better future with their decisions today?
It's very difficult at the moment in politics, where media has become a driver, not always for good change, but for a short-term behavior, while a government should keep a long-term vision and implement this through smart policy making in the now, today, based on all the variables that we know, and bring people together to create that vision. Hopefully we have leaders as ministers and as prime ministers who bring this together at a much higher level so they can actually serve the people that are living in their country. They're not serving themselves, they should serve the people and be accountable for that. So it is a huge task, and I think the government needs to create new spaces for collaboration with citizens and businesses. That's something I have learned. Make an action plan, make a roadmap, and then make everybody commit to that and implement it. It's very simple. That's what government should do. Get it going. Let's get and find the financing for it, and then let's implement.
Why is the world not circular yet?
And I've talked to thousands of people about this, and I don't want to make it abstract to say governments are the problem or business are the problem, but of people, us. And I didn't say it's easy to change. It's super difficult to change. All this is difficult to change. But if you have a view on the future, then we can get there because we are smart human beings. So I think these trusted, courageous meetings where we are behind doors truly talking about the future solutions are necessary. We need the organizations and the money to organize that. Definitely possible, but let's transgress between our individual interests and make future generations proud of what we did in the year 2022, 2023, 2024, so that they look back and say these guys really made an impact on changing the world and not they just did a little bit less bad, which I would be embarrassed to be part of. So let's ramp up this ambition together.
Now I'm going to move into the third and final circle. What would you advise policymakers, businesses, and philanthropists to focus on in the coming years?
It depends what sector you are in. I think go inside for an hour, think about who you want to be, and then act from that. In short, so philanthropists, make a vision and be clear where you want to go. Governments, please see your huge responsibility and having to make sure that you create the policy, the action frameworks for the next 5 years. That's so you have to be ahead of the curve, far ahead of the curve. Businesses, I would advise, but I'm nobody to advise as I'm a student of this, but my feeling as a human being would be, go beyond what you have to do. The current system with its rules is not supporting change. We all know that. We also know that businesses can't change alone. But think as yourself being part of the system and not only trying to optimize for what is possible in the legal frameworks of a country. And huge responsibility as citizens, vote for the right things, but also make sure you vote every day with your wallet in the right way.
What should the people who are watching this do to start their circular transformation?
Sarah, for me, one thing is relevant, and that's action, action, action. All the talk, smart talk, sweet talk is okay, but we need to action right now. So to everybody who is listening to this, I would kindly ask you, please, hopefully you know what you have to do to make yourself and the world future-proof. If you don't know that, just email me or contact me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I will happy and promise to respond to any request, what you can do as a next step, because there are enough people in the world working on this. The only bad excuse I know is not to take action. Please do something now.
Thank you for watching. We hope this conversation inspired you to start your circularity journey today. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell button not to miss the future dialogues with passionate leaders in the circular economy. If you enjoyed this conversation, you could listen to the whole interview on Spotify or Apple Podcasts from the link below. See you at the next Circum Center episode, discovering the center of your decisions.